Disconnected from my wedding, but this 120,000 Tesla revealed amazing hidden love in my MOM. Sarah felt weightless and detached, floating through her own wedding preparations. In the quaint Midwestern town of Cedar Grove, everything should have felt perfect, sunshine pouring over the park where her dream wedding would take place, laughter from friends, and the scent of fresh flowers filling the air. Yet, amidst the bliss, she felt a void. With each floral arrangement picked and napkin folded, her relationship with her mother, Linda, felt more and more strained. What Sarah couldn't see was the invisible toll it was taking on her mother. Linda, a devoted single parent, had given everything to bring Sarah to this point. Sacrificing family heirlooms for extravagant centerpieces instead of embracing the simplicity they had always known. It was a heartfelt gesture that went unappreciated, like the quiet tears Linda shed while sorting through memories. But diving into wedding plans had left Sarah blind to her mother's silent struggles, the love buried under layers of expectation and frustration. Their tension bubbled beneath the surface, a simmering pot of unspoken resentment and misunderstandings. Friends and neighbors busied themselves whispering about how beautifully everything was coming together while Sarah faced her mother with a quickened pulse and tight chest. Why couldn't Linda just understand? As they stood in the craft store, choosing confetti colors, Sarah's irritation peaked. How could her mother cling to the past when Sarah was ready to step excitedly into her future? Then came the unexpected news, a 120,000 Tesla left to Sarah by her grandmother, a luxury like a beacon in the small town that spun stories of envy and awe. The sleek lines of the car dazzled her, pulling her as she sat behind the wheel for the first time. Momentarily distracted by the luxury surrounding her, she invited Linda to join her for a drive, an uncharacteristic moment of shared time on a day filled with tension. The car was high-tech, overflowing with voice commands and options. Suddenly, it came to life, and the voice of her grandmother echoed through the speakers. Heartfelt messages played like a soundtrack to their drive, reminding Sarah of the love she once took for granted. Memories flooded back, emotions flooding in her chest. Her grandmother spoke of resilience and strength, and the hidden sacrifices made by those who loved her. With every message, Sarah's anger began to dissipate, replaced by an uncomfortable tenderness that threatened to crack her carefully crafted resolve. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they drove through their beloved Cedar Grove, Sarah wrestled with her feelings. How could she be angry at Linda, a woman who sacrificed so much? Had she truly been unjust in her expectations? Just as the emotions rose to the surface, Sarah's heart raced at the thought, could she find it in herself to understand Linda? As they arrived at the wedding venue, a swirl of laughter and joy surrounded them, but the tension remained heavy in the air. Sarah turned towards her mother, ready to confront the gap that had widened between them. Would she summon the courage to embrace her mother's love? Or would this day slip through her fingers, just another bittersweet memory of a fractured bond? The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the wedding venue as the sound of joyful laughter echoed around them. Sarah parked the Tesla and sat for a moment, gripping the steering wheel as she stole a glance at her mother. Linda seemed distant, her eyes locked on the flurry of people moving around the park, busy setting up for the ceremony. The carousel of emotions in Sarah's chest surged: love, guilt, confusion. It felt overwhelming. "Mom, can we talk?" Sarah's voice trembled slightly, breaking the silence. It was a small step, but it felt like a leap into the unknown. Linda turned, her brow furrowing but not unfurling. "Now? With everything happening?" Her voice wasn't harsh, but the weariness behind it was palpable. "Yes, please. I need you to hear me out." Sarah felt the weight of her words. Somehow, confronting her feelings seemed more daunting than saying her vows in front of friends and family. They stepped out of the car, the air filled with floral scents swirling around them. Sarah led Linda to the edge of the park, where a large oak tree stood as if guarding their moment. Its branches swayed gently in the breeze, whispering secrets from days long gone. "Mom, I've been so caught up in my wedding plans. I didn't stop to think of what you've been doing. I see you now, and it scares me that I didn't before," she confessed, her eyes pooling with tears. "I thought all these extravagant things would make make us happy. But I've lost sight of what truly matters." Linda's expression softened, her own eyes glistening. "When you were little, you said you wanted a princess wedding big and beautiful. I thought if I gave you that, it would make you happy. But I guess in trying to be everything for you, I forgot to be just your mom," she admitted, her voice quaking with honesty. A feeling of heaviness lifted slightly as Sarah's heart swelled with a mix of relief and sorrow. "I didn't mean to push you away. It's just been hard for me to adjust to change. I was angry because it felt like our roles were switched. You were supposed to be there for me like always." Understanding dawned on Linda's face, and she reached for Sarah's hand, holding it tightly. "I've always been here, honey. Sometimes love means giving space to grow, but it doesn't mean I didn't feel the sting of your distance." Tears trickled down Sarah's cheeks now. It was as if a dam had burst. "I'm sorry, Mom. I should have told you how much I appreciated everything and how scared I was to leave everything we've built behind." Linda squeezed her hand. "You can build new memories while cherishing the old. It's not a loss, it's an extension of our love." In that moment, surrounded by the vibrant colors of the wedding preparations blurring into the background, they stepped closer to each other, their hearts opening, ready to embrace the possibility of healing. But just then, a sudden commotion erupted from the venue. A group of guests were pointing, eyes wide in shock, and Sarah felt her stomach drop. "What's happening?" she asked, fear creeping back in. As they turned, both taken aback by the sight, the last thing Sarah expected to see was a familiar face, the one man she wished she could forget, her ex-boyfriend Ben, walking straight towards them with an expression that could only signal trouble. In that instant, Sarah's heart raced anew, not just with the unease of confrontation, but with a realization she couldn't ignore. What would happen now? Would her past threaten the future she was trying to build? The air hung thick with unspoken tension, Sarah frozen in place. As she caught her breath, she wondered if this unexpected turn would help her face more than just wedding jitters. Would she find the strength to tackle all her fears head-on? Ben's figure loomed closer, a silhouette casting shadows over Sarah's unexpected moment of clarity. Her heart thrummed like a drum, barely out of sync with the chaos around them. The laughter and chatter from the wedding preparations faded into a distant hum, muted by the panic bubbling in her chest. "Sarah," Ben called, his voice soft yet filled with a hesitant urgency. He stopped just a few feet from her, his gaze darting between her and her mother. The familiarity of his face sent a wave of memories flooding back, shared secrets, late-night texts, dreams of a future that never came. "Why are you here?" Her voice broke through the uncertain silence like shattering glass. She felt as though her heart was in her throat, tangled between anger and a rush of unresolved feelings. "I came to see you," he replied, but the weight of the moment hung heavily in the air. The sincerity brimming in his eyes clashed with the dread pooling in her stomach. Linda interjected softly, placing a hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Maybe we should listen to what he has to say." "But Mom," Sarah protested, her pulse quickening. She didn't want to get pulled back into old emotional whirlwinds. After all, this day was meant to mark her new beginning, not to dredge up the past. Ben glanced at Linda, then back at Sarah. "I didn't know about your wedding until yesterday. I thought if I let you go, you'd find happiness without me." His words spilled forth, raw and vulnerable, each one intensifying the turmoil in Sarah's heart. While her mind screamed for her to turn away, a part of her ached to understand why he was here now, risking everything after they had parted ways so abruptly. "What do you want, Ben?" she finally managed, steadier than she felt. I wanted to apologize. For everything." He took a breath, his eyes pleading for some semblance of understanding. "I've missed you. I've thought about you every day since we broke up. I thought I was helping you move on, but I see now it was me who needed to move on." A flutter of confusion stirred inside her, the remnants of their love clashing with the reality she was about to embrace. She shifted her gaze to Linda, who watched the scene closely, her eyes suggesting both support and caution. Sometimes people take time to grow apart, only to realize they might actually be growing together, Linda said quietly, the wisdom of a mother's love guiding her words. Sarah's heart raced, caught in the tension between past and future. Her magical wedding day, her father waiting at the altar, all felt like an unreal backdrop to the revelation before her. "Ben, I can't," Sarah began, but the weight of his gaze silenced her. Suddenly, the sound of cheers erupted from the venue as someone yelled, "The bride and groom are about to arrive." Their distraction left Sarah's breath hitching in her throat. In that brief moment of chaos, all her plans felt desperately fragile, just like her heart. But as Sarah looked at both men in her life, her past and her future, their intentions blurred in the shifting light. It was now or never. "Just give me a moment," Sarah whispered, stepping away from them both. Her heart pounded like a ticking clock, each second bidding her to take charge of her own life. She inhaled sharply, ready to confront what lay ahead. What would she choose? The past that had shaped her, the uncertainty that loomed before her, or a future filled with hope? The wedding bells chimed in the distance, echoing with the weight of her decision. With one last look at Ben, who stood waiting and vulnerable, she turned toward the venue. A choice loomed ahead, and it was hers to make. But as she approached the crowd, the door swung open, revealing a surprise that would shake everything she thought she knew. What had she missed in her race toward the altar? Just as the door swung wide, Sarah felt her heart leap into her throat. The laughter and chatter from the crowd surged back at her like a wave. There, standing just inside the threshold, was her father. His expression was a mix of pride and confusion, but something else was flickering beneath the surface, a hint of worry. "Dad?" she called, instinctively stepping forward. The familiarity of his presence grounded her amidst the chaos of emotions. He looked like he was about to say something, but she interrupted, "Did I miss something?" Before he could answer, the room erupted into cheers. Guests were clapping, raising their champagne glasses in celebration of the moment they had all been waiting for. Sarah stumbled back slightly, her mind swirled. She was supposed to be the center of attention today, and now all of this felt so surreal. She caught Ben watching her from the sidelines, the warmth of his gaze colliding with the chill of uncertainty swirling inside her. Whatever had just happened in their brief interaction felt monumental, but now, the ceremony was literally at her doorstep. "Sarah, there's something," her father began, stepping forward to grasp her hands, his voice lowering as if to keep their exchange private against the backdrop of jubilant noise. "A car just pulled up with a delivery. It's a Tesla, an incredible one that cost me a lot of money for you. But there's something more important that came with it." "What do you mean?" she asked, feeling the weight of his words. She wasn't sure if it was her nerves or the pang of joy in receiving such a huge gift. "Your mother, well, she had it brought here for you. She wanted it to arrive just in time for your big day," he said, his voice a hush against the noise. "But it's not just the car, there's a message." Sarah's heart dropped. A message? What could it possibly be? While she loved the idea of the car, the mention of her mother had brought old memories flooding back. They hadn't spoken extensively in months. The rift between them weighed heavily on her heart as she stood on the cusp of a major life event. "Could you speak to your mother before you plunge into all of this?" her dad continued, looking earnestly into her eyes. "I think there's something she really needs to tell you. And after that, I think you might need to decide what you want in life, your future, your happiness." After his words sank in, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. It was one thing to have Ben show up out of nowhere, and now there seemed to be a hidden directive from her mother. A tear threatened to escape her eye, filled with both trepidation and the faintest glimmer of hope. "Okay," she finally replied, her heart pulsing with a whirlwind of thoughts. "I'll talk to Mom." Sarah turned on her heel and made her way through the throng of guests, her heart pounding. She was stepping into unknown waters, and it both terrified and excited her. Each step felt like a leap of faith, leading her closer to a truth she had a feeling would change everything. But what could her mother's message be? The murmurs from guests blended with the sound of wedding bells in her ears, setting her heart beating faster. As she pushed through the crowd, the gnawing sense of urgency grew. Above the joyful sounds, she felt shadows from the past waiting to uncover secrets tied to the car and the love of her family. She had a choice to make, and this time, it was beyond just her heart's pull. As she reached the edge of the room, she realized she wasn't just here for her wedding anymore. She was here to confront the hidden love that lingered beneath the surface. What lay behind that message, and how would it intertwine with the choices ahead of her? As Sarah moved through the crowd, her heart raced. Each smile she encountered felt like a mask hiding a deeper truth. The soft laughter of her friends contrasted sharply with the tumult inside her. She spotted her mother first, standing near a cluster of guests, her bright dress a beacon in the haze of celebration. The air thickened around Sarah. This would be her moment, the bridge between what was and what could be. But her mother's back was turned, and the more Sarah observed, the more she sensed the distance between them. Memories washed over her, late-night conversations, quiet truths shared, all now drowned in unspoken words and misunderstandings. "Mom?" Sarah's voice quivered slightly, barely piercing the joyful haze enveloping the room. Her mother turned, surprise flickering across her features. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, the crowd fading away into a blur. "Sarah, you look breathtaking," her mother exclaimed, stepping forward, arms open but hesitant. "I can't believe this day is finally here." Her words felt hollow against the emotional uproar churning in Sarah's heart. "Thanks, but we need to talk," Sarah replied, the urgency in her tone leaving no room for celebration. "About the message." Her mother's expression shifted. Confusion mingled with concern as realization sank in. "The car and the message?" she asked softly, stepping closer, her brow furrowing. "Yes. Dad said you had something to tell me." Sarah felt her voice crack, her eyes searching her mother's face for the comfort she once found there. "What is it? What do you want me to know?" Taking a deep breath, her mother hesitated. It was as if she was walking through memories, weighing their significance. "It's not what I want you to know, Sarah. It's about what I regret not saying before." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken stories. Sarah felt the weight of years pressing down, each moment building an unsteady foundation of love and regret. "Mom, please." "I didn't want you to think," her mother started, but the words dissolved in the noise around them. The laughter morphed into whispers of annoyance, curious glances shifted their way, and for a heartbeat, Sarah felt the eyes of the gathering settle on them like a spotlight. Tensions heightened as breaths quickened. "Let us step outside," Sarah suggested, urgency guiding her. Her mother nodded, relief and anxiety battling in her eyes. They slipped through the back door, escaping the chaos into the serenity of the garden, where the evening breeze played gently with the leaves. The soft glow of string lights twinkled above them like stars fighting against the encroaching darkness. "Sarah," her mother began, her voice trembling slightly. "I was never good at expressing myself. I've always worried about how my choices would affect you. Your happiness means everything to me, and I didn't want to burden you with my mistakes." "Mom, you're not a burden. But I need to understand why you felt the need to hide things from me, especially if it's about Dad or anything else." With each word, Sarah felt the boundaries they had built around them start to crack. Her mother inhaled deeply, the moment stretching as she considered her next words. "There's a reason I had that car delivered. Inside, there's a letter, a message from me. I wish I had shared everything sooner, but I was afraid." Fear settled deep in Sarah's gut. "Afraid of what?" "It's time for you to know the truth about your father and me, and how it might affect your future." Her voice carried a tremor, but clarity began to shine through. What did that mean? As Sarah stood there, questions swirled in her mind, intertwining with the unpredictable beats of her heart. If this conversation turned into a revelation that could shift her view of love and family, where would she stand after? The darkness was gathering fast, and Sarah had no choice but to step further into the unknown. Would uncovering their secrets bring them closer, or would it fracture their already delicate bond even more? The truth loomed large, ready to burst forth, holding her future tightly in its grip. Was she prepared to face it? The night air was thick with anticipation, a delicate tension that wrapped around Sarah like a shroud. A crumbling wall of silence hung between her and her mother. The garden, though charming, felt like a prison, each flower a reminder of the beauty that hid deeper pains. "Mom, what do you mean? What truth?" Sarah pressed, each word scrubbing her heart raw. "Just tell me what I need to know." Her mother shifted uneasily, glancing toward the bright lights spilling from the house, as if the laughter and chatter could provide a distraction. But they were alone now. No more interruptions. "It's about your father and about me." His name hung heavy, charged with unvoiced emotions. What happened? Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. Memories of their family, once so vibrant, now seemed like flickering images on an old film reel. "I loved him, Sarah," her mother began, her eyes glistening in the soft garden light. "But love isn't always enough. I wanted you to have a stable home, a happy childhood. I shielded you from the truths that crumbled our marriage." Her words were thick like honey, slow to unfurl yet sweet with poignant reality. "What truths? What did you hide?" Her mother took a deep breath, holding it as if collecting the scattered pieces of her life. "Your father made choices that hurt us. He had dreams that sometimes took him away from us, from me. I didn't want you to see the cracks. So, I pretended everything was normal. I thought it was for the best." The admission stung. Sarah's heart beat thunderously in her chest, flooded with confusion and sorrow. She had always seen her mom as a rock standing strong through life's storms. "Didn't you think I should know? Don't you think I deserved the truth?" "I was afraid it would change how you saw him," her mom said, desperation spilling from her voice. "He was your hero, but heroes can fall. I didn't want you to lose that." The weight of her mother's fears crashed over Sarah. "But wouldn't knowing the truth have made us closer? I mean, if we're not honest, how can we truly love?" Silence enveloped them, stretching across the space like the darkened sky overhead. Slowly, Sarah turned her gaze toward the car parked nearby, its glossy surface reflecting the twinkling lights. "Is this what he left for me?" The message was about more than just the car, wasn't it? "I thought if I could give you something special, something from him, it would keep a piece of him alive in you. But that was wrong, Sarah. I see that now. You need to know the full story, not just gifts and nice things." Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes. The pile of emotions she had been carrying began spilling over, changing the landscape of her heart. "But how can I trust you again? How do I move forward?" Her mother stepped closer, the warmth of her presence conflicting with the coolness of the night. "We'll take this step together. It won't be easy, but I want to start fresh. I need you to know everything, even the parts that hurt." A chill danced down Sarah's spine. "Okay." It slipped from her lips, barely more than a whisper. The enormity of it settled on her, and part of her felt painfully exposed. Could she really face the truth? Before her mother could respond, a loud laugh erupted from the party, jolting Sarah back to the present. "What if it breaks us?" "It won't," her mother asserted, voice firm now. "We can heal if we face it together." But could they really? Sarah's heart battled against the fear that gnawed at her resolve. Would this truth strengthen their bond or drive them further apart? In that moment, a flicker of determination sparked in her chest. "I'll go. Let us get the letter." As they turned toward the car, the looming shadows of uncertainty still cast their weight. The truth was an abyss she could either fall into or embrace, but it terrified her all the same. Would her heart and her mother's love be enough to guide her through the revelation ahead? Or was she headed for a collision course with a past rich in hidden resentments and betrayals? The answer was just out of reach. The car sat there, glimmering under the party lights, every inch a reminder of the father Sarah barely knew, yet missed so deeply. She swallowed hard, the weight of her mother's words hanging in the air like fog. Beside her, her mother's breathing was uneven, filled with a mix of fear and hope. Moments stretched as they approached the Tesla, the reality of their conversation settling like dust. Are you sure you're ready for this? Her mother asked, her voice softer now, as if she were afraid the slightest sound might shatter the fragile tension. I don't know, but I need to be, Sarah replied, determination lacing her tone. She wouldn't turn back now, not when they had come this far. The glow of the car felt electric, like it held secrets waiting to be unveiled. As they reached the driver's side, Sarah hesitated. What if it drags up things we can't fix? Her mother rested a hand on Sarah's shoulder, squeezing gently. Then we'll face it together. With a shaky breath, Sarah opened the door, the soft click echoing in the silence of the dimly lit garden. Inside, the car looked immaculate, polished to perfection, but the surface belied the emotions simmering beneath. Her fingers traced over the leather steering wheel, memories of her father flickering in and out of focus. Had he ever sat here? Had he felt the same pride driving this car that Sarah felt now? Look in the glove compartment, her mother encouraged, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah turned the small latch, her heart racing. Inside, she discovered a neatly folded piece of paper. Fingers trembling, she pulled it out, unfolding it slowly. A letter. It felt heavy in her hands. Tears pooled in her eyes, and she couldn't decide if they were from anticipation or dread. As she read the first line, her breath hitched. My dearest Sarah. Her mother shifted anxiously beside her, unable to contain herself. What does it say? What did he want you to know? Just a moment, Sarah choked out, too caught up in the words. Her heart soared and sank with every sentence. The letter was an ode, a message filled with warmth and regrets, love and apologies. He wrote about dreams that had pulled him away from home, about the love he had for both of them, even in his absence. I thought if I could give you something special. Echoed in her mother's voice from moments before. Here was the truth, raw and bittersweet, diving deep into the heart of what had been missing for so long. As Sarah read more, she realized how deeply her father had cared, how he wished they could have been closer. The words flowed with love but also with an ache of familiarity, a longing to make things right that was too late to fulfill in person. Tears blurred her vision as she continued, each line unraveling threads of hope she hadn't known were woven into her childhood. The truth was harsh, but it also felt like a lifeline. I had no idea, she murmured, her voice shaking as she glanced at her mother. I didn't think he could still love us like this. He did, her mother affirmed, tears brimming in her own eyes too. He always did. In the midst of such sorrow, warmth bloomed. Their gazes met, and for a moment, the garden around them faded, replaced by the whispered connections they pledged silently to mend, to forgive, to remember. But just as the weight of shared emotions began to settle, a sudden crash resounded from the party, laughter cut off as gasps filled the air. Sarah and her mother looked toward the source in alarm. What had just happened? Mom? Sarah's throat tightened as confusion swept over her like a cold wind. It felt like another storm was approaching, one neither of them could have prepared for. As they turned back, the laughter and music of the party felt distant, almost surreal. Together, they faced the night, a letter of love in hand and uncertainty looming like dark clouds overhead. What next revelation awaited them, hidden in the shadows? Sarah's heart raced as her mother's grip tightened on her shoulder, both of them now staring at the party's lights that flickered like stars in a storm. The sudden crash had shattered the fragile moment they'd just stepped into, and the stillness was charged with unspoken fears. What is going on out there? Sarah asked, her voice trembling. Her mother turned pale, her eyes darting toward the bustling party. I don't know, but we should check. She took a step back, pulling Sarah gently away from the car and toward the sound of commotion. As they made their way through the garden, echoes of chaos grew louder. A group of guests had gathered near a fallen table where a tower of glasses had come crashing down, shattering into 1,000 glittering shards. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Is anyone hurt? Sarah shouted, concern rising within her. A voice from the crowd called back, just some broken glass. No one is injured. Just startled. But the unease didn't disappear. Everyone seemed tense, eyes darting between the fallen mess and each other, glued to the reality of their own vulnerability. As they weaved through the gathering crowd, Sarah caught a glimpse of her childhood friend, Claire, her face flushed as she stood holding a champagne glass, staring in disbelief. "Claire!" Sarah called out, relieved to see a familiar face. "What happened?" "Ugh, just a clumsy waiter," Claire replied, shaking her head but breaking into a nervous laugh. "But it frightened everyone, you know how easily panic spreads at parties." Her mom glanced back at Sarah, her expression softened by camaraderie. "See? It's okay," she whispered, but Sarah felt an unease still lingering, hovering like a storm cloud. They returned to the car, and Sarah absent-mindedly stroked the leather, hoping it might ease the tension stored within her chest. "Should we go back in?" she asked, casting a glance at the ruckus fading behind her. "I think so," her mother replied, her voice steadier now. "But let us take a moment first." They stood close, the chaos fading into a distant hum, allowing a comfortable stillness to wash over them. "Maybe this was a sign," her mother said, her eyes reflecting the soft glow from the car lights. "A reminder to face our fears head-on, just like your father's letter encouraged." The heaviness weighed down on Sarah again, the earlier intensity spilling back into the open space between them. "It's strange," Sarah began, reading his words, "it felt like he was here, like we were in some kind of connection." Her mother nodded, the flicker of hope igniting a spark in her features. "He knew how important it was for us to feel that love, even if it came with sadness." The noise from the party resumed, laughter re-emerging as guests began to mingle again, but Sarah felt a profound silence envelop her. It wasn't just the chaos that made her heart race, it was the dawning realization that the love her father had poured into his words extended beyond mere letters. It echoed in moments like this, in standing side by side with her mother facing their past together. Suddenly, the gleam of the Tesla captivated Sarah's gaze once more, highlighting the unfinished conversation they hadn't quite resolved. Her eyes fell on the crumpled letter in her hand, and a swell of new questions began to fountain about her father, about their family, and what other mysteries might be hidden beneath the surface of her old life. "Mom, what did you mean when you said he was trying to give something special?" The question hung in the air as her mother's eyes widened with surprise, as though Sarah had struck a chord she was nervous to touch. "I thought maybe there was a reason he left this car for us," her mother replied slowly. "A reason to remember him, and to connect in ways we never fully grasped." The weight of that revelation settled between them, a healing thread woven through the chaos. But just as clarity began to emerge, a new sound pierced their moment, the unmistakable rev of an engine. "Did someone start the car?" Sarah asked, her heart pounding in sync with the roar that echoed through the garden. The unexpected noise pulled their attention, both faces turning toward the source. The journey to understand their family was only beginning, and mystery loomed just around the corner. What would emerge from the shadows? The engine's roar reverberated through the garden, slicing through the murmur of guests. The source was undeniable. The powerful Tesla, sleek and shining under the party's lights, looked both menacing and inviting. Sarah's heart raced with a mix of fear and curiosity. Was it truly someone starting the car, or was it a strange echo of emotion, begging to be understood? "Let us go check," her mom urged, her voice steady despite the quiver in her fingers as she gripped Sarah's hand. They moved slowly toward the noise, drawn by the uncertainty that hung in the air like a thick fog. As they approached, they could see a young man leaning against the car, his confident stance and sharp suit framed by the party's vibrant glow. He glanced up, meeting their eyes with an inscrutable expression. "Hey!" he called out, his voice above the growl of the engine. "You two must be the owners?" Sarah exchanged a quick look with her mother. We inherited it," she answered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lucky you," he replied, his grin widening. "I'm Leo. Your dad and I went way back." This beauty was his pride and joy. The words sank in, pooling warmth around her heart. "Really? You knew my dad?" "Yep," Leo nodded, stepping closer. He could talk about this car like it was a living thing. Always said it was more than just a set of wheels. It was about connection, freedom, and love. Love. The word filled the air, wrapping around Sarah and her mother until they shared a knowing glance. The weight of grief began to lift, replaced by a tingling sense of hope. "He left us a letter," Sarah shared hesitantly, wondering how much to reveal. "That makes sense. He wrote letters like it was his second language," Leo chuckled softly, the nostalgia in his eyes evident. "What did it say?" Sarah hesitated, the raw emotion bubbling beneath the surface. "He wanted us to feel close to him, even after he was gone." "Perfectly him," Leo replied, his gaze softening. "He believed in leaving something, a piece of himself, for others. This car was just one part." As the late-night air wrapped around them, an engagement sparked within Sarah. "So there's more to this car than it seems?" "Definitely," Leo said, leaning closer, excitement brewing in his voice. "I'll show you. There's a secret compartment hidden beneath the driver's seat. Your dad told me once he kept things in there." Eager curiosity ignited in Sarah, pushing her forward. "Can we check?" "Of course. Let us do it." Leo hopped into the car and opened the driver's seat. The moment he pried open the compartment, the air thickened with anticipation. Inside, an envelope lay neatly tucked away, wrapped in a faded ribbon. "Wow," Sarah whispered. "Your dad must have wanted you to find it," Leo observed, handing it to her gently. "Take your time." With trembling hands, Sarah pulled it free, emotions tumbling like waves. This was yet another part of her father's mystery. Her mother watched closely, a blend of pride and fear flickering across her face. As Sarah opened the letter, she caught her mother's breath catch in her throat. "What did he want us to know?" The silence stretched as Sarah read the first few lines, tears of wonder welling in her eyes. Each written word felt like a caress from the past, wrapping them in their father's embrace. But just as she began to fully digest the contents, the party surged behind them with loud laughter and clinking glasses, a tidal wave of life flowing past their moment. Gathering her strength, Sarah prepared to share with her mother the secrets within the letter. Just then, the sound shifted. Sarah caught snippets of conversation, a rumor swirling. "Did you hear about the hidden treasure?" one voice exclaimed. "Treasure?" Sarah's heart jumped again. "What treasure?" But before she could inquire further, Leo's eyes sparkled with urgency. "You two have a real adventure on your hands. Those secrets in that letter, they could lead you somewhere incredible." As they stood together, clutching the letter tightly like a lifeline, Sarah felt the thrill of discovery growing within her. This was more than just her father's words. It was the beginning of uncovering hidden pieces of her family, but the idea that there might be a treasure waiting out there somewhere felt electric, tying them together in a bond that transcended time. Both anxiety and excitement mixed in her veins, ready to propel them forward. "What if it leads us to what we've been missing?" Sarah asked, heart pounding with possibilities. And just like that, everything hung in the balance: a treasure, a journey, a renewed connection. What secrets would the letter reveal next? As Sarah held the letter tightly, a sense of urgency surged between her and her mother. This was more than just an inheritance, it was a doorway into the past, something that could bridge their fractured relationship. "Mom, we need to read this together," Sarah said, determination painting her voice. Linda nodded, her eyes glimmering with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. They moved to the side of the car, leaning against it like it was a confidant. With a deep breath, Sarah unfolded the letter further. "Dear Sarah," she began, her voice steadier than she felt. The words poured out like an invitation to learn, to connect. It spoke of love, the kind that began with dreams of family but was shadowed by choices made long ago. As she read, tears shimmered in her eyes. He believed that love could transcend distance, that every choice had a purpose. He wanted us to feel that no matter what. As her mother listened, Sarah sensed Linda's grip grow tighter on her shoulder. "What else does it say?" Linda urged gently, her voice trembling with eagerness. "He talks about his regrets," Sarah continued, "about missing birthdays and milestones, about wishing he could have been more present. But he reminds us that love doesn't end, it evolves." The emotional truth bounced between them like a tether, reconnecting the fragments of their family story. Linda let out a shaky breath. He never wanted to leave us, she whispered, profound realization dawning upon her. I always thought I had to handle it all alone, but he was trying to reach out all along. Heartbeats synchronized in a rhythm of understanding as Sarah read further, feeling the warmth of her father's words wrap around them like a blanket. The letter revealed not just the past but seeds of hope for their future. He left us clues, hints about how to find joy again, Sarah said with renewed determination. He wanted us to uncover the treasures of our shared memories. Just then, Leo interjected, his excitement palpable. That's it. If your dad mentioned hidden messages, they could lead you to something amazing. Think of the adventures waiting for you. The thought sent a thrill through Sarah, a rush of adrenaline mixed with joy. You're right. Mom, we've got to piece this together. He wouldn't want us to let this opportunity slip away. Linda's eyes sparkled. Let us do it. Let us find what he wanted to share with us, she replied, her voice steadying with purpose. The bond between them began to shimmer, reinforced with shared dreams and hopes. They could feel the shadows of the past melding into the light of possibility. Sarah looked at Leo, whose enthusiasm filled the space between them. Do you have any idea what this treasure could be? She asked. A lot of times, people hide things in places that mean something special. Could be anywhere. Think about where your dad hung out, places you loved together, Leo suggested. Like the lake or Grandma's garden. Sarah exclaimed, inspiration flooding her mind with visions of adventures. Maybe we should start there. Let us go. Linda said, a newfound spark got her moving, resonating with the energy building in Sarah. Together, they jumped into the Tesla, and even as they buckled in, she felt tears of joy streaming down her cheeks. It wasn't just a drive, it was a journey toward healing, understanding, and love rediscovered. As they got closer to the lake, Sarah's heart raced with every beat. We can do this, she rallied her mother while shifting the car's gears. This is just the beginning. Your father would be proud of you both, Leo remarked, his grin reflecting their growing excitement. Finally, they reached the familiar winding road lined with trees, the lake peeking through gaps in branches, glistening under the setting sun. Sarah parked, and they stepped out together. The cool air was vibrant with the sounds of water lapping at the shore, inviting them to explore. Where do we start? Linda asked, excitement lacing her voice. At that moment, Sarah remembered a spot from her childhood, a little cove overlooking the water. Over there. I used to love sitting and listening to the sunsets with Dad. Let us check it out. As they made their way to the cove, their laughter echoed in the air like a reunion of lost spirits. The brimming excitement masked remnants of doubt. They were stepping boldly into a space filled with love and hope. At the cove, surrounded by rippling water and whispers of the past, they began searching. Together, they scoured through the familiar spots, looking for hidden items or notes, sparked by the energy of rediscovery anchored in love. Then, a glimmer caught Sarah's eye, half buried beneath a stone. Mom! Look! She reached down to pull it out. It was an old wooden box, engraved with detailed designs holding significant memories. For a moment, both women froze, breathless weight beneath their chests as they held the treasure, a piece of their family's history. Do you think this is what we were meant to find? Linda whispered, a glimmer of awe in her gaze. I think it's exactly what he wanted, Sarah responded, feeling ember-like warmth pooling in her heart. As they pried open the box, the look on her mother's face was priceless. Inside lay an array of mementos, old photos filled with laughter, mementos from their past, and more letters carefully tucked within. It was as if each piece told a story brimming with love, healing, and new beginnings. Tears fell, but this time they were not of sorrow. They embraced the weight of love flowing freely, allowing the past to breathe with acceptance. Their father's love wrapped around them, guiding the way forward, laying the foundation for a closer connection. As Sarah stood hand in hand with Linda, they knew this transformation was just the beginning. A journey fueled by renewed compassion, open hearts, and cherished moments awaited them. They were ready, together, to build a future teeming with love. This moment marked a turning point, a bridge manifesting back into the light. With every laugh, every tear, they became wiser. "Let us keep uncovering the truth," Sarah said, beaming with radiant joy. "After all, love never truly fades, it only grows." They stood together at the edge of the lake, the sunset casting a warm golden hue around them, hearts beating in unison, ready for all that lay ahead. Now is the time for you to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and transform you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our community. I want you to comment your feelings and reactions about this heartfelt ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second, your engagement matters tremendously. Only true fans understand how vital it is to support this channel through these actions.